So anybody who is logging on now, welcome to today's class. It's Brittany with Scott Lorraine Marketing. We are going to be going over the website platform today. This is the 201 class. So this is going to be going over how to add some additional content, custom pages to your command websites. That being said, I have hyperlinked notes underneath the recording. If you guys are watching the recording, if you scroll down to the bio for the YouTube class, you'll see a URL which will bring you to this Google Doc. This is a breakdown of everything that we're going to be going over in today's class, how to add all of those pages as well as notes, just in case you guys need it in writing as well. It also goes over how to add completely custom content at the bottom, as well as some additional tip videos that will go over just how to add even more information to your command website. So again, if you guys do need this, feel free to grab that. The previously recorded classes are also at the top of the page. So to get started, we are going to be logging into command, and that's agent.kw.com. And I'm just going to plug in my KW credentials. Once we're logged into command, the first thing we just want to spot check is going to be our marketing profile. Most of you have probably already set that up. We just want to make sure that everything is good to go because your website and all of your marketing generated by command is actually going to pull from your marketing profile. So we're just going to double check that really quick before jumping into the website platform itself. In order to access the marketing profile, we're just going to click on our names in the top right-hand corner. And then we're going to go ahead and select settings. Once your settings load, I'm just going to accept cookies so you guys can see my full page. I'm going to go ahead and click on Connect Settings. And then you're going to see Marketing Profile is nestled right underneath that. And we're just going to go ahead and click on Marketing Profile. Again, this is going to be more so just a spot check. Chances are you all have this set up already. Once this page loads, you guys are going to see your headshot if you have one. If you haven't obtained a headshot yet, no worries. Chances are it's a KW logo. Once you guys do have a headshot, this is where you'll want to add it. It does need to be cropped to be a perfect square. So if you guys are looking at this page now and this picture looks wonky at all, if it's squished, if it's stretched, it's because it has not been cropped to be a perfect square. So if it's added as a rectangle or really anything outside of a square, it will distort it to fit it into this section. So that's something just to keep in mind. Underneath that, we have team logo. If you don't have a team logo, that's completely fine. You can add the realtor logo, equal housing logo, or the generic KW logo if you'd like, as some of the marketing materials will show a logo not found if this is left blank. If you do have a team logo, you can go ahead and add that in. You'll notice Lori's logo looks a little bit wonky right here. However, the website and marketing platforms will correct the logo, allowing it to show up correctly everywhere. That's going to be the same for the office logo a little bit lower down as well. The only image that needs to be perfectly cropped to be a square is your headshot. The actual logos are fine. Underneath that, we have details. Pretty straightforward. You guys are going to see your first name, last name, your license number, your team name, all of that information. You'll want to make sure that's plugged in. That way it will just allow it to filter out to all of your marketing materials. If you guys have any specific questions on any of these platforms on how things should populate, you can definitely touch base with us. If you guys are looking to go by a nickname or your professional job title, you're unsure what should be there, that would be a question for your broker in charge, just to make sure you guys are following compliance for your state and board. So for example, if you're named Robert and you want to go by Bob, some boards require your legal name to be on everything. Just touch base with your broker in charge to make sure that you guys can go by that nickname. You also have your designations and credentials. Any designations you guys have obtained, whether real estate specific or not, you guys can add those in. Then we have bio. You'll notice that Lori has added her bio with all of the line breaks that she wants to populate. So in other words, as long as it looks correct here, it's going to show up correctly on your mobile app, on your website, on all of those platforms that are going to be pulling from this section. So making sure that it does look correct here is very important. Underneath that, we have our mobile phone and office phone. Lori has actually replicated her mobile phone as her office number because her board does not require the office number be on her marketing. Again, that is something you will want to touch base with your office just to make sure that you're staying within compliance, as some offices and boards will require the office phone number to be on all of your marketing. Underneath that, we have email and website. You have your email address. This does not have to be your KW email. This would be whatever email address you plan on corresponding with your clients through. So if you guys have opted to use either personal Gmail or even like a Yahoo, AOL, whatever email address you guys plan on emailing your clients through is the one you guys want populating here. Then for your website, this is going to be whatever your website URL is set up as. If you guys have already set up your command website, and you guys have that command URL there, that's completely fine. If you guys have a third-party domain that maybe you purchased through GoDaddy or through whatever platform, you would want to make sure that's what's populating here. If you guys, again, have any specific questions on your URL, definitely shoot us an email, support@scottlebremarketing.com, and we can always double check and just make sure everything looks good. Especially if you guys are using that custom domain, we can essentially assist with forwarding that, redirecting it over to your command website for you. And we'll also update your marketing at that time as well. So that's kind of nice just to make sure it's all taken care of for you. Underneath that, we have our brokerage information. Again, we have our logo, which looks very wonky here. However, it will show correctly on all of your marketing. If you're unsure what your market center logo is, or if you're unsure if you even have one, shoot us an email. Chances are we have it on file for you and we can get that added in. Right-hand side is all your brokerage information. So you will want to make sure that your full brokerage name is populating here. If you happen to be practicing real estate out of more than one market center, you can put both market center names here. You can also split the phone numbers and essentially split the addresses. In the notes tip or the notes URL that I previously shared in the chat and also is hyperlinked underneath the recording, there is a tip video that goes over how to brand your marketing for more than one market center. So if you are an expansion agent, don't worry, you can essentially update your marketing to populate with both offices. And that tip video will go over that for you. For the address, you do want to make sure this is your market center address. Make sure this is not a house address on accident. We have had some agents who have accidentally put their home address on their marketing. This will go out everywhere. So this is going to be on smart plans, your mobile app, any emails that you send out. So make sure that this is the correct market center address. If you're associated with a business center, maybe you're working through a business center rather than the main market center, completely fine. You would just want to put that business center address here. Underneath that is all your compliance information. This won't apply to most of you. However, there are some states that require very specific items to populate on your marketing. So if you guys are with one of those states that requires specific text on all of your marketing, you guys can copy and paste that in here. Lori actually used this spot to mention that she's licensed in 2 states. That's also an option. It's a nice way to make sure that this is going to show up on all of your marketing. If you guys are licensed in the state of Texas, you guys have your IABS links. So you have your information about consumer protection or information about brokerage services, and then your consumer protection notice. They should be 2 separate URLs. You can actually add those in here. It allows you to give it a text name, and then you would just paste that shareable URL in here as well. Or if you guys are in a situation where maybe your protocol has changed with COVID, or if you guys just have something that you need added to all of your marketing materials that happens to be a PDF or a URL, this is how you guys can add that in. Your text goes here, and then the URL that you're looking to share would go in this box. I'm going to remove that from our page just so it doesn't get added on accident. Then we have our legal footer images. As far as states go, I haven't seen any states that require a specific logo outside of the state of Maine. So if you guys are licensed in the state of Maine, they do require the IDX logo for your board. And then they also require equal housing to be added here. If you guys are with any other state outside of Maine, a lot of agents have taken this section in order to add their designation logos, which I think is a very creative idea to get that on all of your marketing. So if you guys have obtained additional designations, that's a great place to add those in. So if you guys have those logos, you can essentially just upload them right here and they'll show up again on all of your marketing, which is great. Underneath that, we have our social media platforms. One big thing for social media, make sure that you are promoting real estate specific pages. Again, these are going to show up on all of your marketing for you, which is great. However, if they're your personal profiles, they're essentially not geared towards real estate. So I would just recommend making sure that you've created those business pages and that's what you're adding in here. Another thing for the actual pages, you'll notice the entire URL is added. Full HTTPS // facebook.com and then / her actual page. If you are not adding the full URL, the system will not see that there is a URL added. So just make sure when you guys are adding these pages, best route to get those, go to your specific page that you're trying to share and just copy the full URL right from your browser and paste it in. And then your system will automatically update it, which is great. Once you guys paste those in and click save at the bottom, it's automatically going to update your marketing for you. There's no manual updating required. Last but not least, we have Facebook Pixel and Ads and Google Analytics. Both of these can be set up. They're not required, and Facebook Pixels, I believe, is actually going away soon as well. So don't stress about that. I did add tip videos again on the notes if you guys are interested in setting those up, and it will break down how to essentially get both of those added. As of right now, the Facebook Pixel will help you guys track any Facebook ads you run through command. And then Google Analytics is a great tool to set up as it's going to track the traffic for your command website. So it's kind of just a cool aspect that you guys can add to your command website. If you guys made any tweaks, any updates, make sure you are clicking save all the way down at the bottom. And once you guys have done that, you'll essentially get this pop-up just letting you know everything's been saved. I'm just going to X out of that. Last but not least, just make sure that your little toggle button, top right, it should say use my information to brand my agent site. You want to make sure that that is toggled to populate as green. If it's not yet populating as a green dot, what that means is the information that you just spent all that time organizing on this page is not yet being shared with your marketing platforms. So by toggling this to populate as green, it's going to allow your smart plans, your mobile app, your website to automatically pull all of this information. It's just going to kind of save you from typing any redundant information. It's going to automatically pull that for you. Once you guys have confirmed that is good to go, we're going to go ahead and jump into the actual consumer section. And that's going to be the last icon on the bottom left. And if you hover over it, it should say consumer. If you guys ever need to, if you ever question which icon is which, if you click on that red K or the white KW in the red box, you'll see that it actually labels all of them too. We're just going to go ahead and click on consumer. And if you guys are looking for consumer and you can't see it, try zooming out a little bit. Sometimes if you're zoomed in too far, it cuts you off right around design. So it chops off those last couple of icons. And then once you're in there, you can zoom back in or out. Once we're on the consumer section, you guys should already have your basic website set up. If you haven't set up your website yet, if you don't have a command website set up at all, a lot of what we're going over today probably will not be possible only because you won't be able to make any of these pages live. So if you guys click on consumer and you're not seeing a website URL here, you're not seeing any pages yet, it means that your command website has not yet been set up. That is something that we can help you guys set up. So if you guys are in that situation, feel free to go to scottleroymarketing.com/command. So again, that's scottleroymarketing.com /command. And that's actually our questionnaire for us to go ahead and set up your basic website for you. And then once that's done, you guys can come back in here and add in the additional pages. If you guys are seeing pretty much similar to my screen, you may have, give or take, additional pages. As long as you're seeing that there is an active URL, you're good to go. That means that your website's live and we can go ahead and start getting the new pages added. So once you guys are on this page, what we're going to be doing today is, again, adding all of the custom pages to the website. For this class specifically, what I tend to do is we will create all of the pages together. And then at the end of the class, we're going to go ahead and make them all live together. It's less jumping around for you guys. That way it's a little bit easier to follow because there are a lot of pages we're going to be adding. So again, we're just going to be creating all of the pages at once. And then we'll go ahead at the end of class and making them live. So just so you guys kind of have a heads up ahead of time. So to start, I'm going to go ahead and just click on create a new page in the top right-hand corner. And this specific process will get a little bit redundant because we're going to have to do this for every single page. But once you guys click on the create a new page, you should get this pop-up. For every single page we're creating today, we are always going to select this top option on My Agent site. And then we're just going to go ahead and click on create page. And I did just see the question come through. So today's class is being recorded and it will be on our YouTube channel later on today. Once you guys have this blank slate up, we're just going to kind of just start going down the pages, and we're going to start with the testimonial capture page. This is going to allow your clients to leave testimonials right on your website, which is kind of cool. And then you can come back in here and get them added to your live website. So by adding the testimonial capture page, we're going to be using one of the widgets. But the first thing I always recommend, no matter what page you guys are adding to your website, is to give it a title. That's going to allow you to kind of tell them apart when you're adding them to your live website. So I'm just going to go ahead and call this testimonial capture. And you guys can call it whatever's going to make sense for you. I just stick with testimonial capture because we will be making a testimonials page later. Once we have a name for the page, you'll notice on the right-hand side, we have all of the widgets that are available for the website. We're pretty much going to be using all of these today in order to just manipulate some of the pages that we'll be adding. But for this specific one, we're going to be using the testimonial capture form. If you guys have not yet used a widget on the website, in order to essentially have this applied to your blank slate, all you're going to do is click down on the widget you're looking to use and drag and drop it onto your blank slate. You should notice that green line. And then once I release my mouse, it just drops the entire widget on my page for me. And again, this will get a little bit redundant, so I apologize. The process is pretty similar for all of the pages. Once you guys have dragged and dropped that, it should still have that gray overlay. That's completely fine. We haven't configured it yet. We're just going to go ahead and click on Configure Widgets on the bottom right-hand corner. And this is going to allow us just to tweak the text, kind of customize it a little bit more towards us. Once you guys have clicked on that, we're just going to go ahead and click on the actual widget name, which is Testimonial Capture. So we'll just click on that. And then you'll see all of my editability is now populating on the right-hand side. So for this widget specifically, all of our edits are going to be made right in this section on the right-hand side, which is great. Makes things a little bit easier. The first section you guys should be seeing is team name. For team name, if you're not associated with the team, that's completely fine. You would just put your name. If you're a spouse team or if you're working with a family member or a friend, you may want to put both of your names if you have not yet designated an actual team name. All this is going to do is it's just going to add your name or team name into the verbiage for the testimonial capture. So I'm going to go ahead and add Lori's name for her. For the next section, we have our headline. You'll see that's populating as headline text currently. You guys can put anything you'd like here. My general text that I add here is usually leave a review with an exclamation point. You guys can also put leave a testimonial, how was your service, whatever it may be, but I'm just going to put leave a review. Anything we add for this, you guys can tweak it however you see fit. These are just recommendations. For the description, I'm going to leave that as is. You guys can tweak that if you'd like. You guys have up to 200 characters. And then I also have my review headline. I'm going to leave that as is as well. That's going to say, how would you rate your experience? It's right above the stars. And then we also have a review placeholder text, which I'm going to zoom out a little bit just so you guys can see the full thing. But you'll notice here, it essentially just asks them how their experience was with the agent. How did you guys help? Were you straightforward? Would they recommend you? It's just suggestions that are going to populate within the actual review section. I'm going to leave that as is as well. So really the only thing I'm tweaking is the team name and the headline. Once I've done that, I'm just going to click on save and apply, and it's going to just apply our updates. Once you guys have done that, your page should look pretty similar to mine. You'll essentially have your title populating. You'll notice that your name or team name has been applied as well. So how would you rate your experience with your name? And then also at the bottom, would you recommend your name? If there's anything that you guys want to tweak further, you can still make edits. You would just want to make sure that you click on save and apply once you've made them. And then once it looks good to go, we're going to go ahead and click on Save Changes in the top right-hand corner. And before you guys click anything else, just click on Save Changes. You guys are going to get this pop up. Normally, we would go ahead and click on Yes, which will allow us to make the page live instantly. However, for today's class, we're going to continue to click No, again, so we can make all of the pages live together. It's just a little bit less jumping around for you guys. Once we've clicked on that, it's going to bring us right back to where we started. So now you guys will see that the testimonials capture page has been added. You'll also notice that it has a gray eyeball. That just means that it's not active on our website yet. And it's kind of just sitting there in like a holding mode. Again, we're going to go ahead and make all of these live at the end of class. But you'll notice if you guys ever question this in the future, if it has a teal eyeball, it's a live page. If it has a gray eyeball, it has not yet been added to your actual live website. It's just essentially just sitting there waiting to be added. For the next page, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to go ahead and click on Create a New Page. And again, we're always going to stick with on our agent site, so we'll leave that highlighted and Create Page. And I did see the question come through. So how to edit text, you would just need to edit it on that right-hand side for the testimonial page. If it's custom text, it will vary based on the page. And then as far as linking a custom domain through Godaddy, yes, if you guys have purchased a custom domain, it can be redirected to this website. Shoot us an email, support@scottloraymarketing.com, and we'll send you our domain forwarding questionnaire and get that all linked up for you. So for the next page, we're going to go ahead and actually add in a mortgage calculator. So we're going to go ahead and give this a title. And again, I'm just going to call it Mortgage Calculator. And once I have my title added, I'm going to go ahead and get my actual page set up. That way we can then go ahead and copy and paste that code in. If you guys are following along and adding these pages to your website in real time, all of the notes that I have here will also have all of the information to add these pages as well. But for anybody who's in the live class, I am going to drop the information into the chat box as well for you guys. So just so you guys have double access to it. But in order to get this page essentially set up and ready for the mortgage calculator, we're going to go ahead and use the Download My App. because you'll notice without having an actual widget on the page, it won't allow us to save it. If you guys hover over save changes without adding a widget, it will let you know to save the page, you do need to have a widget added. So we're just going to go ahead and drop the download my app widget. Once you guys have dragged and dropped that to your blank slate, we're now going to click on content blocks, which is right above configure widgets. Should be right at the bottom of your page. Once we click on that, you guys are going to see an image option as well as a text option. For this one, we are going to be using the text option. And all I'm going to do is the exact same thing as what I just did with that widget. I'm going to click down on text and I'm going to drag it over to my blank slate. Before releasing it, you're going to notice that I have a green line. I want to make sure that green line is above download my app, because what this is going to do is it's going to allow the mortgage calculator to populate pretty much as the main page, and then download my app will be nestled underneath it. So make sure before you release that mouse and release the text box that the green line is above download the KW app. Once you guys have done that, should look pretty similar to mine. You guys will have your text box and then you have your download my app widget. If for some reason you guys did drop it in the wrong location, you can always delete this just by clicking on the trash can and then redropping it. So don't panic. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight the text just by double clicking or highlighting, whatever's easier for you. And then I'm going to go ahead and open up a new window. And I'm going to pull up my mortgage calculator code, and I'm going to share this in the chat with you guys so you have it. Once you guys have this page open, and again, this is all in the notes too, so if you guys need the notes, you can pull that up as well. But once you guys have this page up, we're just going to scroll down to where you guys see step 2, copy your source code. And all I'm going to do is click on copy to clipboard. And what that's doing is copying this massive code for the mortgage calculator. This is what it's going to look like. Just as a heads up, this mortgage calculator is for the United States. So if you guys are practicing real estate out of Canada, it will unfortunately be in US dollars. And once you guys have copied that, you'll see that little copied flash really quick. We're just going to go back to command. We already have our text highlighted. The reason why we did that is now we can right click and paste our code right over it. Once we've done that, I'm just going to go ahead and again highlight the entire code. So you guys should have that like purple pink overlay. We're just going to click on the link button. It should be right to the left of size. And if you hover over it, link should pop up too. We're just going to click on that. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring that code to life so you guys can actually see the mortgage calculator. And then it should look like this. Once you guys have done that, we're going to do save changes again. And remember, keep in mind, just for this class specifically, we're going to go ahead and click on no, just so we can make them all live together. And then you'll see they're just going to start stacking up. And then we're going to do our next page. We're going to do create a new page. The next page is going to be the Homekeeper blog and vendors. That being said, if you guys do not yet have a Homekeeper login, again, don't panic. We can get that set up for you. You guys are given a free premium Homekeeper account because you are Keller Williams agents. The beauty of Homekeeper, it allows you guys to actually pull their blog widget, which is a self-populating blog geared towards real estate, something you don't have to maintain. And they have articles for buyers, sellers, different seasons, what to expect when selling in the fall, what to know about Christmas decorations if you're looking to sell your house. The articles they have are extremely helpful to your clients, and there's no maintenance, which is phenomenal. So it's something that you guys can add to your website, and it's going to automatically post. Usually it's between 2 to 4 blogs a week, depending on the time of year, which is, again, just phenomenal for you guys. So we're going to go ahead and click on my agent site and create page. And I'm going to start with the blog. Again, if you guys don't have Homekeeper yet, you guys can skip over this specific page. And then we still have 3 or 4 more pages that we're going to be adding to the website. But I'm just going to go ahead and label this one blog. And you guys can also set this up and save it and always add that code in later as well. So for the widget for this one, the one I usually use is the company profile, just because I think it looks very clean. So I'm going to go ahead and drag the company profile widget over and drop that on my blank slate. And this may look familiar if you guys recently set up your command website. This is essentially the company profile that pulls from that platform as well. But we're going to manipulate it so it has your blog. Once you guys have dragged and dropped that, we're going to go into configure widgets, just like we did for that testimonial page. And we're just going to tweak it. So configure widgets, and then we'll select our company profile. Again, for this widget, all of your edits are going to be done right on the right-hand side, which is great. So the first thing we have is our headline. And for this one, I'm just going to call it real estate blog. I just think it gives a little bit more oomph than just blog. For our intro text, this is going to be where our code is going to be pasted for the blog. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. And in order to make sure that the entire thing is deleted, you guys should see right here, ... in gray. If you want to change your header image, you can. You can come back in here later with a stock photo if you'd like, and essentially just swap that out. If you guys have like a skyline, or if you practice real estate near the beach or whatever it may be, you can tweak this to be more custom to you as well. I'm going to leave it as is. For the rest of the sections down, we're literally just going to delete everything. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete my section 1, my section 1 heading. My section 1 text, it is required, so all I'm going to do is put a space. And that will essentially trick the system into allowing us to move forward. Underneath that, delete my image. Section 2, I'm going to delete my heading and my text. And then also my image, my footer, I'm going to delete that as well. And you guys should essentially, I'll zoom out a little bit. I know this is going to get really small, but you guys will see all of the gray overlay, all the suggestions. So I have right here, enter heading. My image was removed. Section 2 text is blank with right here. I have section 2 heading, blank with enter heading. My image was removed. And then section 1 text just needs a space. I'll zoom back in. From here, I'm going to go ahead and pull up Homekeeper. However, it does have to be done on Chrome. For some reason, Homekeeper does not like Firefox at the moment. So I'm just going to pull up a Chrome browser really quick and then just go to homekeeper.com, and I'll share this with you guys as well. If you guys are using Firefox, just open up another browser in Chrome if possible. For some reason, when logging in on Firefox, the system just doesn't like it. I'm going to drop that in the chat for you guys. Once we get to just the Homekeeper portal, all we're going to do is click on Sign on the top right, or even just hover over it, and then select Realtors. This is going to pull up the login screen. If you guys are relatively new agents and you recently got your completed setup from us, your Homekeeper login information is actually in that email. If you're unsure where that email is, you can go into your email platform and search completed setup, and it will pull up that massive email with all of your logins from us. If you guys have been with Keller Williams for an extended period, or maybe you just weren't onboarded with us, maybe we're new with your office, just shoot us an email, support@scottleroymarketing.com, and just say, hey, I need Homekeeper set up. We will go ahead and get that premium account set up for you. If you set up directly or sign up directly through homekeeper.com without going through us, you will not be given the premium account for free. It's going to give you a free account, which looks a little bit different. And it doesn't give you as much access. So definitely let us know. Oh, again, our email is support@scottleroymarketing.com. And that will allow us to just set that up for you. I'm going to go ahead and sign in. I can't remember which email my account's under. I think it's this one. Once I've signed in, it should look like this. So if you guys are seeing the red bar, the red accents, it means that you guys have that Keller Williams provided Homekeeper account. If you guys are seeing navy blue, there's a pretty good chance you signed up on Homekeeper directly, which is completely fine. However, you're more than welcome to shoot us an email so we can set you up with that premium account. Once you guys are in here, we're going to scroll down to where you guys see My Widgets. And then we're just going to click on Embed Widget. Once we click on that, these are the two widgets that you guys have access to. So we have, as you can see, your vendor widget, which is right here. And then we have the blog widget. This is what it's essentially going to look like. Both of these widgets are free of use for you guys. You guys can copy the codes and paste them right to your website. For this one, we're using the blog. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the second option, iframe. The command website is not compatible with JavaScript as of right now. So you will want to make sure that you're copying the iframe code. And again, I'm on that blog widget tab. I'm just going to go ahead and copy it. You'll get your little copied tag. And once you guys have copied it, I'm just going to drag this off my screen really quick. And all I'm going to do is go ahead and paste that into my intro text. And it should look relatively like this. You have your iframe. And then once you guys have your headline and your iframe added into your intro text section, we're just going to click on Save and Apply. And what that's going to do, again, just bring that code to life. Once you guys have that up, it should look relatively similar. Depending on how big your screen is, if you guys are working on a smaller laptop, it may squish it a little bit. Don't panic. It's not going to look like that on your website. It's more so just the editing screen. But it should look pretty similar to mine. You'll notice the most recent one was actually posted on June 7th, but you'll see all of these will essentially apply to both buyers and sellers. It's just a great source of information. And again, the beauty of it is there's no maintenance. You guys can add this to your website and never look back, and it's just going to keep auto-populating for you going forward. So once we have that added, we're going to click on our Save Changes in the top right-hand corner, and then we're just going to click on No again. And this is going to add this as a page to our site. For the next page, I'm going to show you guys how to add in the My Trusted Pros widget through Homekeeper as well. For that one, if you guys have not yet set up your account, or maybe you haven't added vendors yet, that's completely fine. Homekeeper will actually help you guys add vendors. We also have a tip video that goes over how you guys can manually add them, which is hyperlinked in the notes. So if you guys are interested in adding the vendor page, this is going to be the vendor page from Homekeeper specifically. It's just really clean and organized, so it's a great option. And we're just going to get that page set up. Again, if you don't have your Homekeeper login, don't panic. You can come back in later and add that in. So I'm just going to click on Create a New Page again on my agent site and Create Page. I'm going to give this one a title, and I'm just going to label it vendors. Your clients will never see this title. This is more so just for you guys to keep everything organized. This isn't something that your clients or anybody who sees your website will ever see. Once it has a name, we're going to use the agent profile widget for this one. So this is going to look very similar to kind of like your bio, and we're actually going to replace the bio with the vendor widget. It looks very clean. It keeps everything centered. So I like this one. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag and drop my agent profile. And again, just like the other widget that we just worked with, everything is going to be done on this right-hand side through our configure widgets. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on configure widgets all the way at the bottom. And then I'm going to click on my agent profile. The beauty of this is it pulls over all the information that you would essentially want to keep already. We already have our headshot in here, which is great. You guys can swap that for a team logo or maybe a different logo if you'd like, but you don't have to. I'm going to leave Lori's headshot right in there. For the page title, you guys can tweak this however you'd like. Some agents will put either local vendors or my vendors, pre-approved vendors, whatever you guys want. I'm going to put local vendors for this title. So I'm going to replace her name with local. And then for role and company, again, you guys can either put a space just to bypass it, or you can give it a name. I'm going to put this Lori's preferred vendors. And then for bio title, I'm just going to put a space. That's just going to remove this section right here. For agent bio, you want to make sure that you select the entire thing and delete it. So you guys should see enter agent bio ... in gray. You want to make sure that entire thing is removed. This is where our code is going to go. Underneath that, we have our contact information. Zoom out a little bit so you guys can see it. I'm going to leave this as is because what that's going to allow, out of that, you guys are going to see contact Lori. It has her phone number and it has her email address. So we're going to leave that as is. So really, all we're really editing is page title, role and company, bio title, and agent bio. So these 4 sections. Once we've done that, I'm going to drag my Homekeeper page back over. And I'm just going to select the My Trusted Pros tab. And I'm just going to scroll down so you guys can see what it looks like. This is essentially what's going to go in there. You can uncheck Browse by Category. However, then it just looks like this. Browse by Category essentially allows them to come in here and click on home builders or realtors or pool service or whatever it may be, and they'll be able to actually pull up anybody you have added to your vendors in Homekeeper. So this is a really cool widget. Again, we're going to use the second option, iframe. And all we're going to do is click on copy. We'll get our copy again. And I'll drag this back over. And then I'm just going to right click and paste this right into that section. And then I'm just going to go ahead and click on save and apply all the way down at the bottom, and it will bring that code to life. So your page should look similar to mine. Once you guys have done that, we're going to click on Save Changes once more and No once more. I promise there's only 3 more pages. We may go a little bit over. And I'll just click on No. And then the next page is going to be our school widget page, which is going to allow you guys to add local school systems, or essentially local schools, where clients can come to that page and just look for local schools, which is kind of cool. Again, this is unfortunately only for the United States. We haven't found one yet for Canada. So if you are practicing real estate in Canada, this page would not apply to you guys. It will only allow you to pull locations in the United States as of right now. So to get that page set up, it's actually going to be the exact same as the vendors. So we're going to go ahead and click on create a new page. And again, we're just going to leave our on my agent site selected and create page. And then for this one, I'm just going to label this schools just so I know which one it is. Let me go to make that live. And then we're going to use our agent profile again. And all I'm going to do is drag and drop that agent profile just like before. Once I have that, I'll click on configure widgets. Same thing as before, click on that agent profile in order to get that editability. And then we're just going to tweak our information and get it set up for that school's widget code. So for the page title, again, you guys can label this whatever you'd like. What I'm going to do is just put local school search as my page title. And I believe that's what's on the notes as well. And then for role and company, I'm going to put, what did I have in here? Search for schools in your area. And you guys can also just put a space if you'd like. For the bio title, we're going to put a space. And then for our agent bio, same thing as before. We're just going to delete it and make sure that it's ready for our code and that it has that suggestion of. Okay, so right when you guys get to this section, you're going to see, again, you're going to get that red outline for your bio, and we're just going to go ahead and pull up the actual school widget code now, and we'll be pasting that into the bio, exactly like the vendors. So I'm going to open up, actually, I'll just replace this page with it, and I'll paste that in the chat for you guys so you have it. And then again, if you guys are following along with the recording or the notes, this is all in the notes as well. It's all in writing for you guys. Once you guys have this pulled up, you're just going to go ahead and plug in your, I would recommend either zip code, city, or state rather than address. Address seems to narrow it down a little too much. So I'm just going to put in Sarasota, Florida. And then you guys would just put in whatever area is local to you. Again, I would recommend city and state just because it tends to pull up the larger area. We're going to leave our width and height the exact same. We're going to go ahead and enter our email. I don't know Lori's email off the top of my head, so I'm going to put mine in here. And then your website URL. This is going to be whatever your command website URL is set up as. And then once you guys have that added, we're just going to check our little checkbox that says I agree to the widget. So again, we have our location, not adjusting width or height, email, website URL, and then you'll see get code right after you check that little box. And we'll just click on get code. This one does not have an actual copy section, so all you're going to do is just highlight the entire code and right click and copy. And this is essentially what it's going to look like. Once you guys have that copied, I'm going to go back to command. And before you guys paste it in, you're going to want to add essentially the center option. All we're going to do is it's essentially the later, greater than, less than, the caret, whatever you guys want to call it. We're going to do that and then just type the word center and close it. So you guys essentially have that bracket, center, and then close it. Once you guys have that added, you're going to right click and make sure that your cursor is after it. Right click and paste your code. And then we're going to do that exact same center at the end of the code. So I'm going to do open, center, close it. So again, I have my center, scroll all the way up, center, and then my code is right smack in the middle. Once you guys have that, just click on your save and apply, and it will bring that code to life. And you'll notice that it's centered. So this widget is a little bit smaller than the vendor one. So if you don't add that center at the beginning and the end, what it does is it left aligns it, so it ends up populating right here instead of being perfectly centered. The beauty of this is no matter what size of a screen your clients are looking at your website on, it's going to center this widget. It's going to look fine no matter what platform they're on. So once you guys have that added, should look pretty similar to my screen. We're just going to go ahead and click on Save Changes on the top right-hand corner. For this page, we're going to go ahead and actually click on Yes and make these pages live. That way I can then show you guys how to add completely custom content. So this is the last one using a widget. So we're going to go ahead and click on Yes. If you guys already clicked on No, don't worry. If you guys are on this page currently, if this is the page that you guys are on, you can stay as is. If you accidentally clicked No, it means that you jumped onto this page. If your page looks like this, we're just going to go ahead and click on Site and App Settings, and then Agent Site Pages. And that's going to bring us to where we can make these live. So once you guys are on this page, we're just going to go ahead and make all of these pages live really quick. The beauty of this is all of the information that I'm going to be using is in the notes, so you guys can cut and paste if you'd like, or copy and paste. And I'm just going to start by clicking on Add Page. And we're just going to kind of work our way from Testimonials Capture up to Schools. So I'm just going to click on Testimonials Capture and Continue. And then for this, for my actual title, I'm going to do the exact same thing I did for the page. So I'm just going to put Leave a Review. And this is going to be what the page is titled on the drop-down list on your website. And then we have our URL slug. This is going to be the actual URL for your page. So you'll notice that Lori's website is the godfreyrealestategroup.kw.com. If she wanted to say, add this to her email signature, she can actually copy and paste the full URL with the slug for this page, and it will allow the clients to automatically go to that page of her website. So this is just the tail end of the URL for her Leave a Review page. So for this one, I'm just going to put leave a review. And you'll notice that spaces and special characters are not allowed. So if you do have multiple words that you're looking to use for a slug, that dash kind of acts like a space, just so it's not all jarbled together. And then for my SEO description, I'm going to put, I'm actually just going to copy it from my notes so you guys can see it. I have tell us about your experience with, and then you would either put your team name or your name. And then once you guys have all three sections added, I'm just going to go ahead and click on Save. And I did just see that someone asked for the notes. Let me snag that really quick. I'm just going to drop that in the chat once more for you guys. And then once you guys have clicked on save, you get your little settings were updated successfully. And that means we can move on to our next page. So I'll click on my add page. And then we'll move up to mortgage calculator and continue. The beauty of this is the process is the same for every page. However, it does get redundant, so I apologize. For the mortgage calculator, we're going to call it exactly that. I've seen some agents do like finance your home or whatever you'd like. I'm just going to call it mortgage calculator. And then for the slug, I'm going to do the exact same thing with a dash. And then for my SEO, I'm copying right from the notes. Mortgage calculator to assist with the home buying process. You guys can tweak that too. None of this is set in stone, it's just suggestion. And once I have all three of those sections added, I'm going to click on save. I get my green ribbon letting me know it's all set. Then I'm going to move on to the next page. And you guys can always come back in here afterwards and make them live. I just want to get these live so you guys can see what they look like. So I'm going to click on my blog and continue. And I'm just going to call this one real estate blog. For my slug, I'm going to keep it short and sweet and just put blog. And then for my SEO, I have real estate blog and updates. And just make sure all three have something, and then we'll click on save. And as you guys are getting this green ribbon letting you know that it's all set, it's actually adding that page to your website. So it's live in real time. There is no turnaround, there's no waiting. Fantastic. It will be live by the time we're done doing this. We're going to click on add page again. This time we have our vendors. I'll click on continue. And for this one, I'm going to do, what did I have for this one? Local vendors. For the slug, again, I'm just going to keep it short and sweet and just put vendors. Especially if your URL is on the longer side, you can condense them if you'd like. For my SEO description, I just have local preferred vendors. Copy and paste it right from the notes. And then I'll click on save. And then last but not least, we have our schools. And I'll click on my continue. And for this one, what did we have? I just have local school search as my page title. And then for my SEO, I had school search with my dash instead of a space. And then for my SEO, I have search for schools in your area. And once I have that, I'll click on save once more. And now you guys can actually rearrange these if you want. So for example, maybe you want leave a review at the bottom, contact us is usually last. That's usually what we recommend. And you guys can actually rearrange these however you see fit. If you do rearrange them, even though you guys get that green bubble at the top that says it's been saved successfully, always click on save just in case. And then that will update your live website. From here, there are 2 more pages I just want to show you guys how to add, one of which you probably will not physically be able to do on your end because you may not have content already, but I do want to show you guys how to add a completely custom page really quick. And then I'm also going to show you guys how to add a testimonial page that will promote the testimonials that your Leave a Review page will capture for you. So we are going over a little bit. I apologize. If you guys do need to hop off from the live class, it will be on our YouTube channel later on today. I will also update the notes. So if you guys are on the live class, I actually swapped the recordings out. So our new class will be updated with today's class, and then this one will be bumped up and replace 414. So if you guys do need to hop off, don't panic. I will get this posted for you guys as well. In order to get those 2 pages added, all I'm going to do is go back to my agent site pages tab. And the first thing I want to show you guys is what the actual website's going to look like with all of these pages added. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on my URL. And this is her website. First thing I want to mention, just in case you guys had any doubt with the logos, you'll see that your office logo and the team logo look beautiful. They're now updated. They're not showing up wonky like they did on the marketing profile. And then you'll see her team name is showing up here. It may be your name depending on whether or not you're on a team. And then when you click on that, you'll see all of the pages that we added. My recommendation is to go through each one of these pages and just make sure it looks correct when you guys have a second. The first time you go to any of these pages, it takes a minute to load. It's just because it's the first time you're going to the live version. That won't happen every time you go to it. It's more so just because you just made it live. It's the first time someone's going to it. What I do want to take a look at is the Leave a Review page. So if you guys added the Leave a Review page and you pull that up, it should look similar to this. This is going to allow your clients to leave a review on your website. If you guys have reviews from Zillow or from Playster from before, or if someone just emailed you a review and said, hey, I wanted to send this over to you, whatever it may be, you guys can also manually add these as the client, which we have had some agents who are merging website platforms. That's completely fine. You can add in their information, their address. If you don't have their address, you can also just put like Sarasota, Florida, the general address. Client since would be the year the transaction was in. If you don't want to put their first and last name, you can put a space, but I would recommend putting something in one of them. Would you recommend? You have your stars here. Don't forget to select your stars, because if you do forget, it will actually give you 0 stars. So you want to make sure you're selecting 5. Your review, you would just copy and paste whatever review in, and then it automatically defaults as yes, I would recommend them. Once you guys have that information added, and again, if you don't have testimonials yet, don't panic, you can do this later. I just want to make sure you guys know how to actually add these to your website. But once you guys do have all of this selected, you would click on Preview Testimonial, which will then show you exactly what it looks like, and then you would just click Paste, or Post, I'm sorry. Once that happens, and we do have a tip that goes through this entire system as well, but once you guys have physically added a testimonial using this widget, whether you did it or your client did it, I want to show you guys where to locate those testimonials. So once that's done, you would just go into your command platform and you would click on your consumer icon, bringing you back to the page that we are on currently. And you would once again click on Create a New Page on the top right-hand corner on My Agent Site and Create Page. And then for this one, rather than leave a review, this one I either call testimonials or reviews. That way I know these are the physical reviews for my website. So I just add in reviews. Then you'll notice for your widgets, you have 2 options. You have a carousel, which essentially just allows them to kind of funnel through, but it only allows you to promote 4 testimonials. If you guys have more than 4, your testimonials list is going to allow you to promote up to 10. So that's the one I usually recommend. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag and drop my testimonials list onto my blank slate. This is essentially what it will look like once we've selected our testimonials. That's the layout of it. And we're going to do the exact same thing as all those other widgets. We're going to click on Configure Widgets on the bottom right. And then I'm going to click on testimonials list. And then headline. I'm just going to give it a headline. So I'll call this one, I'll do client reviews. And this is also on the notes as well. So if you guys do need to backtrack later on today and add this in, don't worry, everything is in writing for you guys to add this in, the SEO, page information, how to set it up. It's all in writing on those notes. So I have my headline as client reviews. For intro text, you guys can put like here, what my clients have to say, or anything along those lines. We appreciate your review, whatever you'd like. Then for client details, you guys as the agent can select what details actually populate. You'll also see the review that you added. This is the test one that we added before, will populate right here. You'll just want to make sure it's checked off. I'm going to leave it with all of these items just so you guys can see what it looks like, and then we'll unselect some and show you what it looks like. So when I click on save and apply, it plops my testimonial right here. And then say if I maybe want to remove the neighborhood and the last initial, I can go ahead and click save apply again, and it changes it to Scott. And it still has my city, but it removed the actual neighborhood. So you guys can tweak what shows up here. That being said, once you guys have it the way that you want it to be, you would just go ahead and click on save changes. I'm going to make this live on our website just so you guys can see it. So I'll click on yes. And it brings me right back to the same section. So I'll click on add page. I'll select my reviews and continue. And then I'll just give it the same information, client reviews. And I'm just going to call this client reviews just to get it added. Do save. Oh, and that just bumped me out of command. I'll pull it up on here. And once I refresh her website, I have my client reviews. And you'll see that populating right here. So that's how you guys can actually add the reviews on your website. That being said, if somebody comes back in here and maybe adds a review tomorrow, and you've already made this page live, in order to revise that and get that new review added, you would just do the exact same thing. You'd come back to command, go to consumer. And now that you already have that page, all you would do is click on these three dots all the way over to the right. And this is brand new. We were not able to edit pages previously. So this is very helpful now. You guys can click on these three dots and now you have an edit option, which allows you guys to edit any pages that you've previously created. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on edit. And we would do the exact same thing, except this time we don't have to actually drag and drop our widget. We would just jump right into configure. So when I click on my configure and my testimonials list, the exact same thing as before. It does unfortunately recheck the things that you previously unchecked. So you would have to uncheck them again. However, you'll notice that your new testimonial will populate right underneath the original. And you would just make sure that one is checked off, save and apply, and publish. And that save and apply and publish will update the automatic page. So if I save and apply that really quick, just removes my last initial, publish page. When I click on yes, I don't even have to do anything. It automatically updates that live page for me. There is no further action required. So that is the beauty of making edits to already live pages. Last but not least, I promise, is just how to add completely custom content. The second to last page of the notes, and I'm going to pull that up really quick just so you guys can see what I'm going to be going over. We have this page right here. These are completely custom pages. If you guys are looking to add information from a Word document, embedding images, videos, URLs, if you guys have a specific URL, this is great for listing landing pages. If you guys practice commercial real estate and you want to promote a commercial listing or even just an active listing that you guys have, if you want to add the entire listing landing page, that is an option. You can also add featured listings. to your website, which I have added a tip video that goes over how to set that up. Where is it? I'm probably looking right over it. Here it is, featured listings. This will go over how to add multiple listings to your website as featured listings. Those will populate. Go back to her main page. Right underneath, so right in between interested, let's talk. Refresh it. I don't think she has anything. She doesn't have anything added right now, but it will be right underneath that main section in between interested, let's talk, and the main website. You guys will see, looks like my internet is a little bit wonky at the moment, so I apologize. But if you guys add in featured listings, they'll show up right here. You guys can add up to 12 listings as of right now. You do need to manually maintain them. So if you guys do have a listing that goes under contract, or if you guys have a listing that closes, whatever it may be, you would want to either replace it with another listing or at least remove that one. But you guys do have access to, again, add up to 12 featured listings to your website. But when you guys want to add in custom content, whether you guys maybe have team information or just sold listings or whatever it may be, the Word document option is fantastic. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that really quick. So I have a Word document that I put together that just has a title, sold properties. I pulled some stock photos, just images, and then I have the listing information and where we represented. So represented the listing, represented the buyer. This would essentially be, you guys can put like transactions, closed sales, past sales, whatever you guys want. That being said, if you guys are able to format this on a Word document, whether you guys are using a grid, whether you guys are using center, or you guys have 2 columns or images, whatever you guys want, clickable links, if you format it in a Word document or a Google Doc, which you guys all have access to because they're linked to Gmail, you guys can create this and copy and paste this content into a generic text box on the command website, and it will keep all of the formatting. So this is extremely helpful when it comes to adding custom content, because adjusting the font, making something bold, making something larger, centering the images is going to be much easier in a Word document than doing it manually within Command. And by doing this in a Word document, or again, Google Sheets, that's what I have up right now, you guys have full access to tweak that information and copy and paste it as is. And I'm going to show you guys what that looks like really quick. And yes, you can embed a PDF document. I just saw that come through in the chat. That's actually the last tip video on the notes, how to embed a buyer guide, I think is what it's called. And it will show you how to embed a PDF document. But in order to get that page set up, I'm just going to show you guys what it looks like really quick. So I'm going to, once again, click on create a new page. You guys are going to be pros at this. And then I'm going to click on my agent site and create page. For this one, I'm just going to put sold properties. Yeah. Once I have that, all I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and just use my download my app, just like the mortgage calculator, because you do need that widget to be used. I'm just going to go ahead and drag and drop that. And then same thing as mortgage calculator, we're going to click on our content blocks, and I'm going to use my text. And the beauty of this is, because I have the images in the Word document, I don't need to manually use the image option. So that's one of the workarounds as well. If you guys are not formatting it in a Word document or a Google Sheets document, you would need to physically add the image, which cannot be centered. So that's something that you can essentially do through the text section. So I'm going to drag and drop that. And then I'm going to come back to my content. I'm just going to go ahead and select all of it. And then I'll right click and copy it. So I just have everything selected. I'll copy that, come back to command, and I'm just going to highlight my text that's there to make sure that I replace it. And I'll right click and paste. And you'll see there's my content. As far as centering goes, if you guys do have only an image and you don't have text with it, you can drag and drop an image in, and you can center it using the paintbrush. I'm going to show you guys how to physically center it just using the box that I already have up here. You'll notice my content is centered, but it's using this entire section. So if somebody is using maybe a smaller screen, what will happen is it won't always center it perfectly. By going through the paintbrush option, it is going to center it even on smaller screens. So if you pull this up on like an iPad or a tablet, it's going to allow this to stay centered. So all I'm going to do is make sure that my text box is still selected. You see I have that blue outline. I'm just going to go ahead and click on the paintbrush icon. And again, you guys can do this with text boxes or images. Once I click on my paintbrush, I'm going to go ahead and click on dimensions. From here, I'm just going to update my max width rather than auto, as you can see is kind of populating in the background. I'm just going to set that up as 1,000. And this is just an example. You guys can kind of play with this too. So I have my max width set as 1,000. And then I have my margin. I'm going to update both right and left to auto rather than the number 0. So I'm just going to type in auto and auto. Spell auto correctly. There we go. And then once I click outside of that, you're going to see it shrinks the box down and it centers it for me. You guys can tweak with this. You guys can mess around with it depending on what you're looking to add to your website. My personal recommendation is to pull up a custom page when you guys have a couple of minutes and just start dragging and dropping stuff onto it. That way you can see how it's going to work. As far as the paintbrush goes, pretty straightforward. Max width is just going to be how wide the actual image is going to be. If you guys are using maybe a PDF or an image that you're specifically adding outside of text, you may want to make it a little bit larger than 1,000 or smaller. However, that margin auto right and left will automatically kind of center that for you. You'll notice it's right smack in the center of my screen. So once I've done that, I would just click on Save Changes. And I'm not going to make this page live because I don't want it live on her website, but you would essentially click on yes and go through that same process to make it live again. And then that will populate as a live page on your physical command website. If you guys have any questions or if you guys had anything that didn't look the same as our screen, just let us know. Again, if you guys are watching the recording, all of the notes that I went over, this page is hyperlinked right underneath the YouTube channel. Feel free to bookmark it, save it. It's not a bad thing to have on hand just in case you guys have edits you're looking to make down the line. Again, there are additional tip videos at the bottom that I tend to update usually every other week, depending on when new videos become available. Same thing with any of the editability. I update it pretty much in real time. So if you guys want to bookmark this, you'll have access to it as it's being updated. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or concerns, definitely just let us know. We can be reached at support@scottleroymarketing.com. And I appreciate you guys sitting through class. Enter agent bio. That just lets you know that everything is deleted. We're going to leave our contact section the exact same. I'm going to zoom back.